Hey, hey, hey. Hey, everyone. I'm Nurse Tricia, and I'm so grateful you're here today. I want to ask you a simple question. Who's checking on the strong one? Not the woman who always has the answers. Not the one everyone depends on. Not the caregiver. Not the nurse. Not the mother. Not the wife. Not the friend who always says, I'm fine. Who's checking on her? Because today, I want to talk about the cost of always being the strong one. For most of my adult life, I've been in the business of caring for people. I've spent more than 20 years in healthcare. I've cared for patients during some of the hardest moments of their lives. I have been a caregiver at home. I've walked through my own health challenges. I've experienced trauma. I've survived cardiac arrest. I have learned what it means to keep showing up when life feels incredibly heavy. And one thing I've learned is this. Many women know how to survive, but very few know how to rest. Somewhere along the way, many of us learned that being strong meant never letting anyone see us struggle. We smile, we serve, we encourage everyone else. We keep the family together. Hey mama, how you doing? We solve problems. We go to work, we come home and do it all over again. People compliment us. They say, I don't know how you do it. You're so strong. You always have it together. But what they don't see is the cost. The cost of the emotional exhaustion. The cost of lying awake at night because your mind won't slow down. The cost is saying, I'm okay, when you're barely holding it together. The cost is constantly putting yourself last. The cost is feeling guilty every time you try to rest. Can anyone relate to that? As a nurse, I've learned to recognize symptoms. We check blood pressure, heart rate, temperature, oxygen levels. But I've also learned there are symptoms we don't always measure. Mental exhaustion, emotional fatigue, compassion fatigue, burnout. The woman who's smiling on the outside may be silently struggling on the inside. And because she's always the strong one, people assume she is okay. Here's something I want you to think about. Strength is a beautiful thing, but strength without restoration eventually becomes burnout. Think about your phone. If you never plug it in, eventually it will die. Not because it's broken, but because it was not recharged. We're not any different. Yet somehow, we expect ourselves to keep going, long hours, family responsibilities, financial pressures, health concerns, community commitments, church responsibilities, and somewhere in the middle of all that, we disappear. I remember a season in my own life when I was giving everything I had. I was caring for others, managing responsibilities, trying to be everything for everyone. And I realized something. I was taking care of everyone else's health while neglecting my own. Maybe you have been there. Maybe you're right there now. You're functioning, you're showing up, but deep down, you're tired. Not just physically, emotionally, spiritually, mentally. Sometimes burnout doesn't look dramatic. Sometimes it looks like losing your patience more quickly, forgetting things, feeling disconnected, having no energy for things you once loved, feeling numb, crying over little things, or maybe not crying at all. Burnout doesn't always announce itself. Sometimes it quietly moves in while we're busy taking care of everyone else. One of the greatest lies many women believe: if I stop, everything will fall apart. But can I lovingly challenge that? What if everything would actually become healthier if you slowed down? What if resting made you stronger? What if asking for help was not weakness, but wisdom? One of the things I teach in the reset room is that our bodies are constantly communicating with us. The headaches, the poor sleep, the constant tension, the brain fog, the fatigue. Sometimes those aren't signs that you're failing. Sometimes they are signs that you've been carrying way too much for way too long. Your body is asking for your attention, not your criticism. Here's another truth I've learned. You don't have to earn rest. You don't have to earn peace. You don't have to earn the right to take care of yourself. You are worthy of care simply because you're human. Not because you finished your to-do list. Not because everyone else is okay. Not because you worked yourself into exhaustion. That is one of the reasons I created my business, Ain't No Shame Coaching, because I wanted women to know there is no shame in slowing down, no shame in asking for help, no shame in healing, no shame in taking care of yourself. We live in a culture that celebrates hustle. I want to help create a culture that celebrates healing. Imagine what your life could look like if you stopped measuring your worth by how much you do. Imagine waking up with more peace, more energy, more clarity. Imagine making decisions from a place of purpose instead of pressure. Imagine giving yourself permission to simply breathe. That is possible, not overnight, but one intentional step at a time. So today, before we end, I want to ask you 3 questions. What have you been carrying that you were never meant to carry? Where in your life are you running on empty? And what would change if you finally gave yourself permission to receive the same care you give everyone else? Hi, Katrina. Take a moment and really think about that. If today's message resonated with you, if you found yourself saying, "That's me," please don't ignore what your mind and body may be trying to tell you. I love for you to take my free Burnout Quiz. It was created to help you identify areas where burnout may be showing up in your life and help you to understand what your next step could be. It's quick, it's eye-opening, and it could be the beginning of your healing journey. Remember, you do not have to carry everything alone. You do not have to prove your worth by exhausting yourself. And there truly is no shame in choosing yourself, in asking for support, and beginning again. I am Nurse Tricia. Thank you for spending these moments with me. Take care of yourself, and I'll see you soon. Yes, Katrina, happy, fantastic Friday. Enjoy the rest of your day. I love you, and ain't a thing you can do about it.